Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is November 24th, and right now we are looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. You can see the state of California to the right, Hawaiian Islands bottom left. We are looking at the Pacific Ocean. We still have this troughing across the Northeast Pacific Ocean that continues to funnel moisture into the state of California. And we've got some interesting systems rolling in here. We got some heavy precipitation that's going to be occurring over the next few days, and potentially as we go on in through the end of this upcoming week before we potentially get a break as we move on into December. But first things first, we have some of these fairly prolific precipitation producers moving into central and southern California, including some of central and northern California at times here as well. But first things first, let's take a look at where we are now. We do have this system across Northern California. This is going to keep the rainfall going. It's not the huge, sinister atmospheric river that we have been dealing with, but this system is going to keep some of the rainfall going here across Northern California, not giving much of a chance to dry out. And we're going to bring another strong storm into Central and portions of Southern California, especially the Sierra Nevada here as we go on in through the next couple of days. We'll be taking a look at that in some detail. This is looking at some of the storm reports we had there yesterday. You can see there was some flooding issues. Most of these are just water flowing over some of the roadways there, and you can see there was a wind gust reported there with some trees down near State Route 20 there. So kind of interesting there, and you can see this reports include some precipitation and some snowfall amounts. Now, if we take a look at last 48 hours precipitation, we did bring some across Southern California, but just enough to, maybe wet the pavement or cause some runoff coming off your roof there, but nothing too extreme. You can see a little bit higher, maybe across some of the higher terrain there. And of course, over the last 48 hours, there was some bigger amounts across some of the central coast. And if we take a look across Northern California, you can still see we're keeping some of that light rain going out there. At least it's not the big, heavy rainfall, giving some of those rivers and streams a bit of a chance to reduce here. And hopefully we get a break and allow, some of these flooded areas to recover. Now, taking a look at the European, this is last night's run. So here we have Washington, Oregon, California, and you can see again that troughing here steering moisture into the state of California. And this is what's going on today. So as we go through the day today, you can see we're still getting some moderate rainfall at times with this system, some snow for the higher terrain, but then the next system starts to roll into central and southern California. This is going to include the Bay Area's time and bring some very heavy snowfall to some of the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada, some nice precipitation amounts across the San Joaquin Valley. It's just at the point where we may be bringing it a little bit too fast and furious and pretty persistent as we go all the way on in through Tuesday, Wednesday, before this finally cuts off. And then we got this next system organizing out here. Then the European wants to bring that back in as we go on in towards the day of Friday, November 29th. So that's the day after Thanksgiving here. So this could create some interesting travel conditions as we go. If you're trying to travel on Tuesday, probably not the best day. You can see things do relax slightly here as we go through Wednesday. Still some precipitation and some snow for the higher terrain, but probably Wednesday, definitely the better day to travel across the state of California if you're going back and forth from relatives' houses or wherever you might be there for Thanksgiving. And then the day after, going back home or whatnot, you have to deal with this next system rolling in here, but it doesn't look like as heavy amounts across the Sierra Nevada as we go on in through Friday night coming up here. But this could have some significant impacts across Southern California if what the European is showing starts to trend a little bit more. And if we look at the GFS, I'm going to put this into motion, and here we go. Pretty good agreement on the initial storm system as we go through tonight, on in through tomorrow. The GFS wants to keep this plume of moisture going all the way on in through the day, some point on the day Wednesday, probably wrapping up on Wednesday morning. And then you can see the snowfall really reduce as we go through Thursday morning. So not a bad Thanksgiving day. We do get a break here, but then this next system looms off the coastline. The GFS is much less progressive with that system. It does start to bring some precipitation into Southern California, but we really got to watch that storm system also. It does have a subtropical tap. We'll see how that trends over the next couple of days. Now, what is going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere? Well, this is looking at temperatures, and you can tell a lot just by looking at the temperatures of the upper levels of the atmosphere. You can see this trough hanging out across the Northeast Pacific Ocean here. And that's what's been steering the atmospheric river and these additional systems back into the state of California. And that will continue to be the case as we go on in through next week and kind of see this lobe hanging out over the Pacific Ocean there. And there would be that next storm system potentially towards the end of the week there. And if I bounce back down towards 10,000 feet, you can kind of see the same thing going on here. That cooler air spinning that moisture back into the state of California. And then again, we have potential additional systems as we continue through this week. So I do like to show what's going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Excuse me. Now, there's other ways to look at upper levels of the atmosphere and temperature. This is at 5,000 feet. This is the temperature anomaly. So just kind of gives you a nice visual indicator of where below normal temperatures are, and it can kind of show you the trough positions and additional mid-latitude cyclone development back into the west coast here. But yeah, that's another way meteorologists like to look at things. And now I'm going to show you something here at 300 millibars, about 30,000 feet up. And this is the jet stream at 30,000 feet in the atmosphere as well. So if you notice, the jet stream correlates where the strongest temperature gradient is, and that's why you get the jet stream forming in those regions. So you can see these are working in tandem. You can see this lobe down here off to the northwest of Hawaii, and you see the jet stream there racing across the Pacific Ocean. That will be bringing additional storm systems here potentially as we go on in through this week. So I do like to show some of what's going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere there. Now, rainfall forecast. This is that system we're dealing with now. This is from this morning here through 4 a.m. Tuesday morning, light to locally moderate rainfall across the area. You know, we just went through some pretty severe precipitation amounts. This isn't great, but at least it's not the super heavy stuff, but it's not giving places a lot of time to dry out. Now, we do have some excessive rainfall outlooks Monday through Tuesday coming up, and they talked about this in the excessive rainfall outlook, and they did mention that there's a potential for some upgrade here. This is a pretty persistent plume of moisture moving into some of Central California, including some of the Bay Area at times. So this may get an upgrade tomorrow. And again, the next plume of moisture is moving in tonight into tomorrow morning. So we'll talk about that again tomorrow morning. So we do have winter storm warnings up. This is Hanford, California National Weather Service. Low is expected today before the snow returns overnight. And you can see heavy snow above 7,000 feet. Additional snow accumulations 1 to 5 feet. That's not 1 to 5 inches. We got huge amounts of moisture moving in here. Higher elevations could see up to 7 feet of snow. Winds gusting as high as 50 miles per hour, especially as we go through Monday night into Tuesday. The winds are going to be picking up across the higher terrain. This goes all the way on into 4 p.m. Wednesday. So we got a ways to go. And I feel like maybe the storm isn't getting enough attention as compared to what it should, because a lot of the passes in this area do get up over 7,000 feet. So it's going to make some difficult travel. So, and again, Wednesday, probably the better travel day versus Tuesday as of right now. Check back again tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday morning. So looking at some of the moderate to heavy snow, Sacramento National Weather Service, they do talk about, 1 to 3 feet, 4 feet at the highest peaks, wind gusting at 55 miles per hour, 4 to 5,000 foot snow levels increasing to 55 to 6,000 feet on Monday and lowering back down a bit here as we go through Tuesday. And again, this is below a lot of the past levels, including I-80 back and forth. So heads up for some treacherous travel. And again, if you can hold off on until Wednesday, you're probably going to be doing better going back and forth across the pass areas. Snowfall forecast today through early Wednesday. Look at Donner Peak, foot and a half there. Echo Summit, higher across some of the higher terrain there as well. And again, rising a bit as we go towards Monday. Moderate impacts, potential for chain controls and travel delays, no doubt. Now, we do have this system impacting some of Southern California. You can see across Santa Barbara and Ventura County off to the north, a bit more precipitation, but we do have more rainfall coming in here. And again, that storm system at the end of the week is kind of interesting looking. That could be bringing some more meaningful rainfall here across portions of Southern California. Day one excessive rainfall outlook. This is kind of housekeeping stuff. I showed you some of that. And I keep wondering to see if they were going to put a marginal out, but there's poor model agreement on that next storm system, so that's probably not going to happen, at least not yet. Now, short-term, high-resolution model. Here we go as we go through the day today. You can see that precipitation kind of on the wane here for Central and Southern California, but that precipitation is moving onshore as I speak right now for Northern California. Some breezy conditions with that also. And then we go on in through Monday, and you can see Monday morning, the next plume of moisture arrives. Bay Area, another rainy day as you go through the day Monday. And again, that very heavy snowfall for the Sierra Nevada. Some big amounts for the Central Coast. We got to watch for some local flooding conditions there. Usually rainfall that's falling across the San Joaquin Valley is very beneficial here. So, in the overall scheme of things, this is a very beneficial precipitation maker. And as we go out towards 60 hours Tuesday afternoon, you can see this precipitation is continuing. Now, if we look at total precipitation in inches over the next 60 hours, you can see, again, don't like to see that across some of the higher terrain in California, but what can I do? I don't control the weather. I just report it. And then you can see as we go on to Tuesday, some pretty big amounts. And again, that's why they're going to be measuring some of the snowfall in feet across some of the Sierra Nevada. But the heavy rainfall stays out of the Los Angeles and the San Diego metro areas and the desert areas. Pretty good there. But once you get towards Ventura and Santa Barbara County and up the coastal region here, Central Coast, you're picking up bigger amounts. Now, If we look at the total snow here, you can see as we go through the day Monday, see it really piling up there across the Sierra Nevada. Yeah, pretty intense amounts. I mean, we're not expecting 200 inches for anywhere, but there's some big amounts coming in here. A lot of moisture burrowing into the Sierra Nevada as we go on in through Monday into Tuesday. Now, looking at 24-hour precipitation amounts. This is the European on the left versus the GFS, the American model on the right. This is the European model on the left. And you see that plume moving in towards the central coast here. This is as we go through Tuesday morning. Wind will be picking up across the Sierra Nevada. Heavy snowfall incoming. The GFS wants to bring heavier amounts back up towards the Bay Area as we go through Tuesday night. The European cuts that precipitation off much quicker versus places like Sacramento getting up over an inch in a 24-hour period. And again, so some model disagreement with that. And then we scroll off into the future, and then you see the European wants to return the system back into the state. GFS not as bullish with the return of that precipitation. We have to watch that storm as well. Could be more of an impact for Southern California as we go towards the end of the week. Could be a problem for people getting home after Thanksgiving. Now, taking a look at 24-hour snowfall here, just kind of driving home the point that we are getting those big amounts on the day Monday and Tuesday. That things start to taper off. We get a bit of a break later portions of Wednesday and on into Thanksgiving. And if I take a look here, this is Donner Summit. You can see the pass level at 7,000 feet. The snow levels expect to remain below that for the most part as we go on in through Wednesday morning. Same thing with Echo Pass right around the snow level right around some of the pass areas. There's Carson, Brockway Summit, Mount Rose Highway Summit there also. And you can see Tioga Pass generally below the pass areas here. Tioga Pass is a pretty high pass there at 10,000 feet. Now, just a heads up here, if you're traveling back and forth or if you're off in the backcountry there, I do have viewers that are out in some of the more remote areas across the Sierra Nevada especially. So as we go through Tuesday morning, you can see the wind really ramping up. That's probably the stormiest period as we go through Tuesday morning for the Sierra Nevada. Ridgetops, exposed areas, and some of the higher terrain even in Southern California get a bit breezy as we go through the day Tuesday. Some strong westerlies across some of the desert areas. Watch out if you're traveling back and forth, driving those high-profile vehicles. Now, something interesting here in the 6 to 10 day, we start to get back towards near normal temperatures. But look at this 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. Looks like we may start to give the eastern portion of the U.S. a bit more active weather coming up here. But you can take that with a grain of salt right now. We still have several storms to go. But look at that below normal signal, 8 to 14 day. Warmer west, below normal east. And look at that below normal signal as we go through the beginning of December coming up. So something interesting I thought I'd show you there for the extended forecast. But anyway, we will break this all down again tomorrow. I hope you guys are having a good day otherwise, and I will talk to you guys then.